Today we are going to discuss the demo session of Informatica Power Center, and from the next session onwards we'll try to understand about we'll try to start the regular sessions. Alright. So when we talk about Informatica Power Center, so basically this is the tool which you are going to get trained on, and my name is Venkat Rajam, and I have about more than 8 years of experience. 8 years of experience in Informatica Power Center, and totally I have 9+ years of experience. So I have worked on Informatica Power Center as both administrator as well as a developer, and so not only this one, not only Power Center, I have worked on different other tools like SSIS and Data Stage, and I have worked on even Cognos and SAP. Okay, so since the Power Center, since Informatica Power Center is mostly used in the data warehousing projects, for the first 4 to 5 sessions, right? First 4 to 5 sessions, we'll try to understand only about the how the data warehouse came and what is the purpose of ETL and what is the different what are the different architectures and how do we do the modeling of the data warehouse. So all these concepts we are going to understand for the first 4 to 5 sessions within the training program. So the course is totally divided into 4 modules. It's like you have data warehousing for the first 4 to 5 classes, and you have Informatica Power Center, both admin as well as developer, and then you have even the Unix sessions as well. Okay, so the course is totally divided into 4 modules. It's like data warehousing, Informatica Power Center admin, developer, and as well as the Unix. So talking about the prerequisites, you need a good knowledge on SQL, and you need a good knowledge on PL SQL, as well as the Unix commands and the scripting, Unix commands and scripting. So you will have to provide, you need a good knowledge on SQL. So it is a must and should one, means you need a very good knowledge on SQL, because at the back end, or in order to test how the data is present, you have to convert the whole logic into the SQL statement, and you have to test the data by using the SQL itself. And sometimes we may use the procedures and the functions in order to do some tasks within the data warehousing projects. And since you have most of the time 80% of the projects are present in the Unix environment, so you'll have to understand how the Unix commands are there and at which place we use the Unix scripting. So as a part of the training, since Unix is the part of the training course, I'll give a heads up on how to use what are the important Unix commands and how to use them, and where do you use scripting and how to. By part of the training, we are going to discuss that as well. Okay, right. So since Informatica Power Center is the mostly used ETL tool within the data warehousing projects, for the first 4 sessions, we'll try to understand about the data warehouse itself. Okay, all the data warehouse fundamentals we are going to discuss. Right. So it's all about what is the introduction, how do we got the data warehouse, and what are the different architectures we have, and how do we model it, and how do we tune the performance of the data warehouse. All these things we'll see in the first 4 to 5 sessions. So depending upon, why do we got this data warehouse first of all? So why do we got this data warehouse? It's like whenever you go with any application that you have, when you write, let's say you have a banking application is present. Means when you have a banking application, so you'll be having customer ID. So you will log in using that customer ID. So whenever you wanted to transfer something, transfer some amount, so what will you do? You will add them as a beneficiary, and you will just transfer the amount that you have it. So basically these applications or the interfaces that we have will be designed by using the programming languages. So when I say programming language, it's like you have Java, you have .NET, you have PHP. So these are all the different programming languages are there. So using this programming language, we basically design these interfaces. So these interfaces that we have, they cannot store the data. So the storage is not possible here. Storage is not possible. So whenever you establish any organization, or whenever you go with you deal with any organizational data, so since this data is not possible to store within the front-end languages, what we do is that we are going to store it into the back-end. We are going to store it using the back-end technologies or the server. So these back-end technologies or the server is what you call it as a database. So the information will efficiently enter from the front-end interfaces into the database. Front-end interface into the database. So what is meant by database? A database is nothing but it's a software package. It's a software package which is used to store the data, in the form of tables. So we are going to create lots and lots of tables within the database. You can create all the database objects like tables, views, schemas, right? And indexes, stored procedures, all these things we can create within the database in order to store them. Right? In order to interact with these databases, we have a language called as a SQL language, which is nothing but structured query language. Structured query language, which is used to access the data within the database. So this structured query language, it includes the commands like insert command, just to insert the data into the database. We have a create command to create the tables, indexes and all. And we can update the data here. We can change the structure of the tables. We can change the structure of the columns, right? So by using the alter command, we can commit the data permanently into the database. We can roll back the changes that we have done, right? So we can drop the tables. We can truncate the data within the tables, right? So all these are the different commands which are part of the structured query language, which is used to interact with the database. There are multiple databases as well. We have databases like Oracle, which is from Oracle Corporation. So we have SQL Server, we have DB2, Teradata, which is the latest mostly known database, and you have Sybase, which is acquired by SAP. So these are all the different RDBMS that we have within the market, which are placing, which are playing a major role within the data warehousing environment as well as the application database environment. Alright, so this is more about how we have the database and how we are going to interact with them. So let us say the main purpose of, why do we store the data? What is the purpose of storing the data? It's like the main purpose of storing the data is nothing but for having the future reference, which is in turn known as business analysis. We can do business analysis. We analyze how your business is running. We can analyze how the business is running by storing the data. But when you are storing the data, where does the data will be stored? And we know that it will be stored within the database. But how do we store the data, and what kind of applications do we call them as? So basically, whenever you go to the real-time, any real-time application that you have, let's say when you want to book a ticket, what will you do? You will go to the railway application. When you want to order some when you want to order some food or something. So you'll go for that particular application, which is called as order entry application, right? Whenever you wanted to order some books, or you wanted to get some items, so then what will you do? You'll go for some e-commerce applications like Flipkart or Amazon like this. Okay, Amazon, etc. So whenever you wanted to book some airline ticket, so you'll go to the airline application. Alright. So these are all the different applications, or when you wanted to debit the amount or when you want to credit the amount, what will you do? You will go to the ATM withdrawal center. So these are all the different applications where we deal with in our daily life, and these applications are called as a OLTP applications. OLTP applications, which are nothing but online transactional processing applications, or we can call it as processing systems as well. So these OLTP systems that we have, we do a lot of transactions on them. So when I say transactions, it's nothing but operational transactions. So these OLTP systems are basically very important. Okay, they are very important. OLTP applications are very important to the business because they stand as a backbone of the business, which are basically capable of storing all the operational transactions. Means whenever you go with the application called as a Flipkart. So when you make a transaction, it is nothing but you have booked a ticket. You have booked a product. So it is nothing but when you book a product within the Flipkart application, you are adding the data to the OLTP system. You are adding the data. You are performing a transaction. So again, a transaction is nothing but it's a set of DML operations. Means you either insert the data into this application. Yes, you either insert the data into this application, or you will update the data, or you will delete the data from the application that you have it. You either insert the data, or update the data, or delete the data from this application that you have it. Right. So you perform the DML operations on this system. So these systems are very important to the business. As I told you, they are the backbones of the business because they store all the operational transactions, and they are continuously available. Means the users of the OLTP system will have the continuous access to that, and they store the current data. And we have we have a predefined access path to that, which will be easy to access them, right? So because of these reasons, OLTP systems are the backbones of any enterprise whenever you wanted to set up the organization. Okay, so let's say you have a system called as a SBI is there. You have a SBI system is there, State Bank of India. So you wanted to perform the business analysis, like how the business is running, how the SBI business is running. You want to just understand how it is going. So for doing that, as I told you, since all the operational transactions are stored within the OLTP systems, basically there are 3 OLTP systems are there for SBI. 3 OLTP systems are there for SBI. One is like you have a system called as the SAP, sir. One system is SAP, where you have all the core banking transactions, transactions are stored here, right? And you have another system called as a Oracle is there. You have all the insurance transactions are stored here, okay? And you have another system called as a mainframe system is there, and all the credit card transactions are stored here. Basically, each system is storing different transactions, like all the core banking transactions, like whenever you are crediting the amount or debiting the amount, so all these transactions are stored in SAP. And all the insurance transactions, means whenever you take a policy, whenever you deposit amount for your insurance policy, all these transactions are stored in Oracle. and all the credit card transactions are stored in another system which is present on mainframes. So these are all the different OLTP systems that you have. Different OLTP systems you have, where you have the data is present. Okay. So as I told you, these OLTP systems, the properties are like, you have these OLTP systems with the different standards. So each OLTP system will have a different standards. Right? And you have the current data present within the OLTP system. Right? And you have the data present in 3 different locations, as well as on 3 different technologies. You have the different applications you have it. So whenever you have these many disadvantages are present within the, these many limitations are present within the OLTP system, we cannot perform the business analysis properly, because you have different standards are there, and you have the, most importantly, you have the current data. What is meant by current data? So basically you have only present data is present within the OLTP system, which is like last 3 to 6 months of data is present here. Last 3 to 6 months of data is present here. But in order to perform the efficient business analysis, you have the yearly data should be present, which will help us to compare your business with different time periods. So which is like the historical data should be required. And you have data within 3 different locations and 3 different technologies you have. You have you don't have the uniform data store. You have the data within SAP, Oracle, and Informatica present. So because of these advantages, since I am not able to perform the business analysis properly, so what I am going to do is that I'll create a uniform data store. Okay, I'll create a uniform data store, and I'll bring the data from each OLTP into this uniform data store. So this uniform data store, I'll build it on a database. This uniform data store, I'll build it on a database. Okay, so this process of bringing the data from multiple OLTP systems, transforming them into a homogeneous format, and loading the data into the database is called as a ETL process. Okay, so the process of reading the data from multiple OLTP systems and transforming that into a homogeneous format. Why we are transforming? Because we have different standards are there. All right, and loading the data into the database is called as a ETL process. So when you wanted to perform the business analysis, basically you require a concept of the data warehouse. So this concept of data warehouse is something built on the database. So what is meant by data warehouse? A data warehouse is nothing but it's a database. It's a process. See, a data warehouse is not a technology. It is a process or a theory that is built on the database in order to perform the business analysis. Okay, so what we do here, we create the ETL process in order to load the data into the data warehouse. So what is the data warehouse? A data warehouse is nothing but it's a RDBMS, a relational database management system. It's a RDBMS which is required for analyzing the business operations. So we can create the data warehouse on any database. You can create it on Oracle or on SQL Server. Yes, you can create it on Sybase or on DB2 or on you can create it. Most importantly, we have Teradata, and you have also Natija. So these are all the different databases that you have. These are all the different databases that you have, where you can create the data warehouse process on it. Okay, so whenever you go to the real time, your data warehouse could resist on any of these databases. Right? So here we are going to store the historical data, which means that it's like whenever you create a data warehouse. Let's say I have started implementing the data warehouse from 2012 onwards. So you have the data from 2012 2013 you have the data, 2014 you have the data, 2015, 2016 and 2017. So you have the data, you have the data from 2012 to 2016. You have the yearly data and the daily transactional data is stored within the data warehouse. So that's the reason, since it contains the data over a period of time, it's called as the historical data which is present within the data warehouse. So when you have the historical data is present, whenever you wanted to take a decision on a particular product, let's say if a product is not growing well because the revenue that is generated by the product is very less. So you can take the decision upon that by just disclosing that particular product from the menu, the particular product from the insurance or from the menu of this particular system, right? So it's a decision making database that you have, which will help us to take the decisions. And the data warehouse is very important to the business because we can analyze how the business is running, whether it is going into the profit area, whether the business is going into the loss area. You can analyze that. You can analyze how your business is running on the daily basis, on the monthly basis, or on the yearly basis, and you can understand like which product is going well, which product is not going well, and who are the profitable customers, and so which insurance policy is going well, means when you have more number of users are taking a particular policy, so that policy is a good one, right? So why not implementing a new policy by modifying the existing rules of the policy? So this kind of statistical analytical decisions we can perform when you have the data warehouse in place. Okay, so in order to load the data into the data warehouse, so as I told you, a data warehouse is nothing but a database, right? And you have the tables, within the data warehouse. So in order to load the data into the tables of the data warehouse, we definitely need a ETL process. So this ETL process is nothing but it's the extraction, transformation, and loading process that we have it. So where do you perform this ETL process? Within the ETL tools. Within the ETL tools, we basically perform the ETL process. Like we have Informatica Power Center, which is from Informatica Corporation. Yes, so we have a tool called as a SSIS, which is from Microsoft, right? And you have DB2, which is from IBM, and you have we can perform even ETL from PLSQL, which is from Oracle Corporation again, right? So it's a code-based ETL, means you can write the packages, you can write the procedures in order to perform the ETL. And you have you can perform the ETL by using the SAS also, so right? And you can perform the ETL by using the data stage tool called as the data stage, which is from IBM. So these are all the different ETL tools. Oracle Data Integrator, which is from Oracle Corporation, right? So these are all the different ETL tools where you can you'll work as an ETL developer, and you will create the ETL process within these ETL tools. So you can see there are multiple ETL tools are there within the market. But how come you can take how you are going to take only how you can take only Informatica Power Center? It's like Informatica Power Center is mostly used ETL tool in the market because as I told you, the flexibility in learning this ETL tool and flexibility in understanding or working on this ETL tool is better than compared with all the other ETL tools that you have it. And you have the high rate of success rate, and you have the continuous innovation of whatever the source system it could be and whatever target system it could be. Informatica Power Center will have a plugin adapted to that, means you can connect to any kind of source system for extraction, and you will transform the data within the ETL memory, and you can load the data to any kind of target system that you have it. Okay, so these kind of differences that you have, and another thing is that Informatica Power Center is basically used in two kinds of projects. One is like data warehousing projects. So this is the data warehousing projects that you have, where you are loading the data into the data warehouse for the purpose of business analysis. And you have something called as a data migration project. Means, let's say you have you have one billing system is there, where you wanted to migrate the data from this system to another system. So you can use Informatica Power Center in this kind of data migration activity also. So it's a data migration project. So 80% of Informatica Power Center is used in the data warehousing projects for building the data warehouse, and 20% of Informatica Power Center is used within the uh, data migration process. So these are all the different things that you have it, okay, within the data warehouse. So once the data is loaded into the data warehouse, basically what happens is that it's like you'll perform the reporting on the data of the data warehouse. Why? Because basically when you go into the real time, the managers that you have, they are not the technical persons to read the data from the data warehouse and understand how the business is running. So for that purpose, we have a separate area called as a BI area. BI layer is for that, BI layer. So this BI layer will help us to read the data from the data warehouse. Yes, we can query the data, or we can read the data from the data warehouse, and we we represent the data in the form of reports. So the data will be in a tabular format. We can represent the data in a tabular format, or in a pie chart, or in a bar graph. You can represent the data in different formats within the reports, and these reports will be accessed by the business users of the company in order to understand how the business is running. Okay, so in order to create these reports, business reports, yes, we have tools like Cognos, we have MicroStrategy, we have Tableau, right, and so SAP Business Objects. So these are all the different tools that you have it basically where they are used to create the reports from the data warehouse. Okay, so not only the business reports, you can analyze how the business, you can forecast your business, like let's say on this year, it is used as the artificial intelligence basically, like by using the data warehouse, you can understand, okay, so this year you got 20% of profit. So in the next year you may get some 15% of profit. So this kind of forecasting, business forecasting also you can perform by using the data warehouse that we have it. Okay, so this data warehouse process is basically invented by two people. One is like Rolf Kimball, and you have Bill Immon. So these three people has they have basically discovered the process of the data warehouse. So when I talk about the Rolf Kimball, he said that a data warehouse, yes, a data warehouse is a relational database management system which is used for analyzing the business operations, in order to achieve the business goals, analyzing the business operations for achieving the business goals, Okay, and you have Bill Immon process. So what does Bill Immon say is that, according to Bill Immon, so he says that a data warehouse is a subject oriented. It's a time variant, time variant, and non-volatile collection of data, non-volatile and integrated collection of data, data for management business making, management decision making process, for management decision making process. Okay, so this is the definition or the description given by Rolf Kimball. So according to, I mean, these both scientists have differences in terms of usage of the data warehouse, not in terms of usage, in terms of methodologies. These two people have a lot of differences are there. So this guy has suggested a top-down approach, and this guy has suggested a bottom-up approach, and you have multiple differences are there between Rolf Kimball's approach and the Bill Limmon's approach. Okay, but both have said it's like a data warehouse is useful for the business analysis, and so according to Rolf Kimball, he said that a data warehouse is built on a data warehouse is built on a database which is useful for analyzing the business operations for the purpose of achieving the business goals, right? And according to Bill Limon, he said that a data warehouse is a subject oriented. Means what is meant by subject orientation? It's like if you take any organization, basically organization will have multiple subject areas, like you have the sales subject area, finance subject area, marketing. You have likewise you have different subject areas are present. Okay, so within the data warehouse, the tables are actually categorized according to the subject area. Means all the sales tables are saved in one. All the sales data is stored in sales tables. All the finance data is stored in finance tables, and all the operations data is stored in operations tables. Means like this, the data is categorized according to the different subject areas. The tables are categorized. Means the data warehouse is categorized according to the subject areas, and where the tables are loaded with the subject area level data. Okay, and the next one is a time variant. Time variant is nothing but a data warehouse will contain the data across any time period. As I told you, when you have started implementing the data warehouse from 2012, it will contain 2012 data, 13 data, 14 data, 15 data. Up to March 3rd, you have the data within the data warehouse. You can access the data from any time period. Means, let's say, if you want to access the data from 2014 quarter 4 data, yes, you can access it. So when you have the historical data is present, basically you can perform the yearly analysis. You can compare your business with on a yearly basis. You can compare on a quarterly basis. You can compare on a monthly basis. You can compare it. Okay, so that is called as a time variant database. A data warehouse is a time variant database which contains the data across any time period. And the next one is a data warehouse is a non-volatile data, which means that once the data enters into the data warehouse, it does not change. It does not change, which means that, let's say you have some customer information is there. Customer information is there here. So you have customer ID, customer name, and phone number is there. Phone number is present, right? Customer ID and phone number is present. So customer ID is 3, for name is like right, and you have the phone number is this one. Alright, so this data is basically stored into the data warehouse. It will be stored into the data warehouse. So whenever there is some change in the phone number, what happens is that this OLTP system data will be overwritten. It will be overwritten. Right? So it's a volatile. OLTP is highly volatile in nature. So the data will be changed here. So when the data is changed within the OLTP, so the change that is happened within the OLTP system will not update the information here. So it will be entered as a new record. The change that is taking place will be entered as a new record into the database. Okay, it will be entered as a new record. So the data warehouse will contain the data which is a non-volatile. It's a non-volatile database where the data will not change. And the next one is that it's a integrated database. So you can see here you have the data present within SAP, you have the data present within Oracle mainframes. But and sometimes you may receive the data within the flat files. But you can see within the data warehouse you have basically the integrated data from multiple technologies that is stored here. So that's the reason it is called as a integrated data. It contains the integrated data. So this is about how you have the differences between the Rolf Kimmel and the Bill Lemon approach for explaining how the data warehouse is present. Okay. So in the current session, we have understood about what is the OLTP system, what is the data warehouse, and we have talked about how the ETL process is, what is meant by ETL process, how it is created, and we have talked about how the data warehouse is used, and we've seen like what are the different ETL tools and the reporting tools are present. All right? Yes. So any questions so far? Any questions? So as I told you, we are going to create ETL process here. So ETL process, yes, so this is nothing but a ETL process. You can see this is the ETL process that we have it. So this is the source and this is the target, and we create this kind of ETL process for reading the data from the source, and we load the data into the target. So as a part of the training, we are going to understand, we do not understand the Power Center with the simple examples. We'll try to have a real-time case study, like we'll have a retail case study where we are going to understand based on that. We are going to understand Power Center based on that. Okay. So it's a completely practical oriented training that you have it, where you have where you'll have a project will be discussed, and that will be more or less like the how you have within the real time. Okay, so that is more about the demo session.